So they're going to see both of us at the same time.
Yeah, quality.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. How are we doing? Happy Wednesday here in lockdown, I suppose we all are. So how are we all doing? Who have we got? Just make sure you say hi in the chat on the right-hand side. I am joined today, I'm very, very pleased to say, by Charlie Baines. Charlie is a pharmacy graduate and here to answer your questions, you know, hopefully not too personal, about pharmacy, about the degree, about how he got there, about what he's doing now. So yeah, I mean, I've been fielding questions on our Instagram for a couple of days now, and you haven't disappointed. Loads of people are kind of tuned into that Instagram story and let us know some questions, which I will be asking Charlie in a little bit. So I'll be kind of taking the lead on this and asking Charlie some common questions and stuff like that, things that I reckon you guys might want to know. And then we'll open it up to you. And actually, in fact, what you could do as a favor for us, if you do have a question, rather than put it in the chat, if you pop it in the comment section below the video, then we can see that and we won't lose your question in the chat. So if you have got a question, I will get to it. Just make sure that, or we will get to it, and just make sure you put it in the comment section as opposed to in the chat. So Charlie, hi, how you doing, mate?
I'm good, cheers. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. So where are you right now, buddy?
I'm in Liverpool, sunny Liverpool.
Oh, so not too far from home then?
No, about 40, 50 minutes.
Yeah, that's not too bad at all. It's not too bad at all. Complete disclosure here. I've known Charlie for a long, long time, since 2004?
7? Oh, 4.
Yeah, 2004. I was actually
Oh,
Charlie's form tutor in secondary school for a while. So yeah, that's quite a bit now, and it's amazing just to see. It's good to see you again, buddy. It's been too long.
You too, yeah.
So I've obviously done something right. Charlie still wants to speak to me after all this time. So
yeah.
So pharmacy, that's amazing. And, you know, I study pharmacology at university, so not a million miles away from what Charlie's doing. So what I'll do is just basically give Charlie the floor for a minute or so, just to give you an insight as to who he is and how he got where he is. And then we can get into some questions.
Nice. Okay, so I did biology, chemistry, psychology, and English lit at A-level. I dropped psychology after the first year and carried on with chemistry, biology, and English lit. And then I went to Nottingham to do pharmacy after taking a year out just to have a bit of a break. And then did 4 years of that. And now I am working in one of the hospitals in Liverpool. Yeah.
Excellent. So you're like is it like a dispensary you're working in now, yeah?
So I am ward-based currently. And we do a bit of time in dispensary, maybe a little bit each day normally, but currently we're all ward-based, reviewing patients on the wards or remotely away from the wards at the moment.
Oh, well, yeah, I suppose, you know, things are very, very different right now to what they normally are, right? So when you say like reviewing patients and stuff, what does that kind of entail for you as a pharmacist then, bud?
So I'll look at patient notes, maybe blood results and prescription charts, see what people were taking before they came in, what they're taking now, anything that needs to be changed, any discrepancies, any advice I can give really, and just flagging that up to the relevant person. Yeah, and just making sure people safely get better, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. I mean, you know, I think because you're probably like the expert eye, would you say? I mean, because obviously doctors do the prescribing and stuff like that. And of course, they've got a good knowledge of the drugs and interactions and so on and so forth. But you're the guy that kind of like you're overseeing that and checking it and making sure that the I's are dotted and the T's and crossed and stuff.
Yeah, so anything that's prescribed normally has to be verified by us. And then we just say whether it's appropriate or not, basically. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's good. So I reckon we can start with some questions now, guys. If you've got any questions in the chat, we'll obviously, you know, if you got some comments and stuff, that's great. But if you've actually got a specific question you want answered, put it in the comments for us, so that way it won't get lost in the chat, and I'll make sure Charlie gets those. Okay. So we've had some on Instagram. Are you ready, mate? Are you ready? We got some on Instagram, and I think one comment that I don't know, I think about 5 or 6 people have asked, or one question 5 or 6 people have asked about pharmacy is something along the lines of, is there much chemistry content in the pharmacy degree? How much of A-level chemistry is in the pharmacy degree? So I think they're asking, like, what are the links between A-level chemistry and how much you actually do in uni?
Yeah, A-level chemistry was tough, and it gave me a good basis for pharmacy. The amount I use now is less, but I still do use it. It's just in different ways. I might not look at chemical structures every day, but the likes of pHs and whether drugs will precipitate or whether they can go together, that's the main part of me using chemistry. I don't do much lab-based work,
Sure.
but there's quite a lot of chemistry in the course, but I only had maybe one module that was specifically chemistry focused. It's more intertwined with things. You need the chemistry to be able to understand some of the biology and some of the drugs, but yeah, I saw a question about it being biology or chemistry, and I guess you're applying chemistry to the biology. If I had to say, it'd probably be more biology focused. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting, because you know, I know when I studied pharmacology, it was kind of like 50-50 for me, but I was doing, you know, pharmacology is more like drug research side of things, so I can understand that.
Yeah. So
yeah.
whenever we did the research, it was chemistry, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I mean, I remember there was like biochemistry modules and stuff like that. And I suppose like pharmacokinetics, was that a thing?
Yeah, and we still do these things like on the ward, but it's more like maybe critical care wards, and then you're looking specifically at chemical structures and receptors and things like that. I don't use it every day because I'm not in critical care, but some people do. And with pharmacy, you could do industry, and then it would be a lot of pharmacology, a hell of a lot of pharmacology. But yeah.
Oh, cool. Well, it's good to know that there are kind of different routes outside of, you know, once you funnel through that pharmacy degree, there's different things you can go into. And we'll get into that actually, because I know some students have been asking about that as well, which is awesome. So what else about uni? Is pharmacy more biology or chemistry? We just answered that. Can you become an A-level chemistry teacher having done a pharmacy degree? I think I can answer that one. PGCE. Yeah, a postgraduate certificate in education. As long as you've got a science degree that has got a decent amount of that particular science in it, then you can go and do a postgraduate certificate in education. That's what I did after pharmacology. So yes, you absolutely can if that's what you wanted to do. University. So the question is, what university is best for pharmacy? Well, I mean, obviously you can, I mean, where did you go to university? How did you find it? I mean, you can really give your personal experience, can't you?
Yeah. I went to Nottingham because the big thing for me was study abroad. And Nottingham has a campus in Malaysia. So that worked out really well for me.
That's all right.
Yeah. They offer the opportunity for a lot of students to go there. So for me, that was a great choice. And it wasn't too much of a city campus or a campus uni that you couldn't get to anything else. Like, it worked really well for me. But I think personally, it was just find a university that works well for you. There's, now that I work with people, there's no university that is shown to be better than any other. It's just everyone seems to have loved the uni that they were at. And
that's good to know. I think sometimes there is too much emphasis on what's the best university for this course, and there are league tables and there are kind of people's opinions and stuff like that. But I totally agree with you. I think as long you've just got to be happy where you are, right? I think I was the same in Bath. I went down there,
Yeah.
loved the place. It was a campus uni just outside of town. That's what I wanted. So yeah, I think, don't advice to students is from Charlie here, don't put too much emphasis on what's the best. Just make sure you enjoy where you're at, right?
Yeah, and like people on results day getting places that they hadn't thought of before, but going and they couldn't have think of themselves of being anywhere else. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's it. I mean, life's full of twists and turns, right? So, actually, what were the entry requirements then for you, buddy? And what exact course was it? A BSc? Was it an MPharm or?
It was an MPharm. Yeah. The entry requirements, I think I remember at the time, were AAB, but they'd give a conditional offer to people if they had, I think, ABB or BBB predicted, and then just give people something to work towards. And they do take people on like free clearing and that. They if they know somebody really wants to go and is going to put work in, that's enough for a lot of places.
Yeah, I mean, they are flexible. And I think, universities are a business at the end of the day. And I think it's worth reminding students that, they want you there. They want your tuition fees, as kind of like, baseline and primal as that is, they want your money. They want you there as a student. And I think, unless they really don't want you, or like, there must be another reason why they can't bring you on, whether it's student numbers or something like that. Oh, here we go. Anzal in the chat. If you have got a question, guys, try and put it in the comments for us. But there are some in the chat here, just relating to what we talked about, Charlie. So we just said that you studied MPharm. Now this is probably a while ago, and you're going to have to blow the dust off this, I think, mate. But have you got any advice on a personal statement? So somebody that's applying to pharmacy, anything maybe you can give them any tips or tricks about the personal statement?
I guess be genuine and honest. Say why, specifically for pharmacy, they want to know why pharmacy and what you offer to the course, not just academically, like what do you like doing, even if it's just a hobby, what do you like doing? And I guess pharmacy, a lot of people, I don't know, a lot of people call it like a lot of people maybe try and get on medicine and then try and get on pharmacy, but pharmacy quite like the fact that they don't want to be a dropout for pharmacy. So if you're making a personal statement, say that you want to do pharmacy specifically, really.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, that's advice I've given to students before is like, you don't want to be hedging your bets like, I'll apply half for pharmacy and then half for this. It's like, you're all in kind of thing. You got to make a decision on that, I think. I mean, there's always an opportunity to transfer when you get to uni.
For sure.
You don't really want to do it. But yeah, I think honesty, as you mentioned, is definitely the best policy. And I think, you don't want to be there saying, oh, I've read this book and this paper when you haven't, because you just get out in an interview, right?
Yeah. And pharmacy does tend to interview. I don't know about whether it does anymore with people not going into unis and that at the moment, but yeah, they do tend to interview, and all they want to know from the interview is, would you cope well with being in uni, and would you be all right, really? And can you speak in English and communicate?
Well, that's it. And I think I remember my interview quite clearly because I was really scared. I'll never forget it.
Yeah, me too.
But looking back, all they wanted to know was, like you said, A, can you manage the workload? And B, is it really what you want to do? That's what they're trying to get out of you. Are you there because you thought there's nothing else you wanted to do and you just thought, well, why not? Or, they want committed students, don't they? And I think that's really
for sure. Yeah.
Rattling through. Oh, here's a good one related as well. Did you do you think work experience is important? Did you get any work experience before you went to uni or anything like that?
I did, but that was just by chance, really. I knew I liked, I was looking at biomed and biochem degrees, and it turned out that, well, I wanted a bit of experience in some areas, so I applied for a load of Saturday jobs, and then some of them were trying to be related in like a lab or something, and then I got a job in a local pharmacy. and then realized it wasn't just a case of counting tablets, and I quite enjoyed it. So yeah, I fell into it that way, but most people, when I got to uni, hadn't had that experience. It did benefit me somewhat, but it's nothing to worry about too much.
You think the majority of people kind of didn't have that same experience that you
Mm,
did?
yeah, if you want to try something and see whether you like it, I'd say it's a good idea. But if you're set on it already, and you can't get anything, it's nothing to worry about.
Yeah, because I know that some degrees are like medicine and stuff, you know, they really kind of,
Yeah,
I don't know, I suppose because it's so competitive, you know, they want people to have shown that they volunteer for doing different things
yeah.
and doing all sorts, but not so much for pharmacy then, no.
No, I guess it looks good, but yeah, like you say, it's a business, and they will just try and take everyone on, and they do want people at the end of the day.
Yeah, they do. Absolutely. They want you. They want bums on seats.
Yeah, yeah.
Question from Matt in the chat here. Did you consider pharmaceutical sciences stroke pharmacology, or were you definitely like pharmacy?
I did consider it, and I went to a few open days looking at it as well. I went to quite a few open days and looked at pharmacology and like biomed courses. But I decided in the end that pharmacy, for me, pharmacy had a career at the end, and I wanted to go into something like clinical based. And I knew that I wanted to do that instead of research. And I
Yeah.
knew I still had the option to go into research if I did pharmacy as well, which I know some of my mates have. So it was a bit of a compromise, and I knew I got a master's from it, and it just worked out well for me.
Yeah, and I suppose there's so much overlap there between, you
Mm,
know, between the courses, between the degrees, then you can always kind of decide to specialize later on as well, choose different modules as you go through.
yeah,
So when did you get to choose options of modules, and when did that happen for you?
yeah. So I got to choose in third year. Really, every uni does it differently, but um, because I did study abroad, my options were a little bit more limited, and I did my dissertation project out in Malaysia. But yeah, other people got to do all kinds, even stuff that's not related to the
Okay.
course, and just to give you a bit of a wider view of the world, I guess.
Well, yeah, that's important as well. But you know, I think given the option, I'd be like, yeah, send me to Malaysia. I'm all
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
all over
It
that,
was a
right?
good life, yeah.
Oh, I bet you missed that.
Yeah, I do. I miss a sun, miss a swimming pool.
I'm not one for some, mate, but yeah, I
Yeah,
totally get it. I
okay.
totally get it. There's a lot of questions about like career prospects afterwards, but we will get to those. I promise,
Yeah,
guys. We're kind of working our way through kind of chronologically here. So we're currently in Nottingham University. Question: oh, what's the difference between pharmacy and pharmacology? I'll take that one if you want, mate. Give your voice a
yeah,
rest for a sec. So we have a pharmacist and a pharmacologist here. So Charlie's to my, hang on, I want to that side or that side. Anyway, so pharmacology is more research behind new drugs and medicines. That's what I studied at university. There are lots of overlaps in terms of the modules that you do, in terms of like drug manufacture, pharmacokinetics, like the chemistry modules, the biology modules. But yeah, pharmacology is more the research behind new drugs and medicines. Pharmacy, how would you define it, buddy? You can do that better than
um,
me.
I reckon it's just the clinical application of that. We don't go. We learn a hell of a lot of pharmacology in pharmacy, but we never learn anywhere near as much as the pharmacologists.
Yeah.
So we have to get an understanding of it, and we do a big like drug discovery module towards final year, but it's very much we're more clinical and down to the, I don't know, more applied stuff and using those medicines in practice then.
Yeah, yeah. There are lots of overlaps. I mean, I remember doing some pharmacy modules and stuff as well. There was always this little bit of rivalry, I think, between the
Yeah,
pharmacy students and pharmacology students in uni when I was there. But
yeah.
Mariam's asking, what do you suggest? A B farm or getting a Pharm D or master's degree? So B
Okay.
Pharm is probably BSc. What's Pharm
Yeah.
D?
Pharm D is the doctorate. So
Okay.
I don't really know of anywhere that does the Pharm D straight away. If I was to do a Pharm D,
So they
I
tend
would
to
have
be
to do
postdoctorate, right? So postgraduate doctorate.
yeah. So what I'd have to do that currently would be done my M-Pharm. I'd have to do clinical diplomas in work, and then I'd have to either fund myself or get work to fund Pharm D after that. I know America does Pharm D straight away, and you've got like a pre-med and then Pharm D, but that takes them like 7 years or something.
Wow.
So yeah, we do better that we're earning after 4 years, and we can work to the Pharm D if we want. The B Pharm, I think we do offer it, but it's if we don't want to complete the M Pharm, we can take a BSc after third year. But by the time you get there, you might as well do the last year. The last year is actually pretty good fun, and yeah, you get to do a lot more pharmacology in the last year and just get towards like actual application.
Yeah. So, well, you were talking to me about your project, weren't you? So,
Yeah.
I mean, kind of linked together. And if you can give us an idea, some students are asking here now, like, I mean, obviously it's going to be different for every university.
Yeah.
For you, obviously, in terms of maybe exams and coursework, and then you got your project at the end. So, what was the kind of balance between like exams and coursework you had at Nottingham? Do you remember?
So it changed like with every module. So we did it in body systems basically. So first year, I think we did like basic science for the first half, and then the second half was like GI maybe, and then the next year we did like asthma, allergies and infections, and pain, and central nervous system, and then endocrine, and we did it in body systems.
Okay,
So
that makes sense.
each module then was assessed differently. And some things lent themselves better to exams, some things lent themselves better to coursework, but normally there was one piece of coursework and one online exam each module. And I'm better at the coursework, to be honest. But it worked out well enough that if you are better at coursework, you can bank your points with coursework.
Yeah.
And then if you were better at exams, you could do the exams and not do so well on the coursework. They do make it quite fair for different people learning.
Well, that's good to know. That's good to know. So, I mean, they got that balance right. That's really, really important. I think, obviously, I mean, nowadays, A-levels, it's just basically exams in science. They got rid of all the coursework. Everything's exam-based at the end. And you know what? Not necessarily conducive to the situation we're in right now. Students haven't had any official coursework or any official marks from the exam board. So that's another topic. That's a whole other series of YouTube lives that we've been talking about it for ages.
Yeah, I do think A-levels were some of the hardest things to be able to juggle that much. Like university was tough, and it got tough towards the exams and managing your own time, but A-levels were really, really tough, like preparing for those exams and multiple exams.
Well, that's it. You're fighting on a number of different fronts, aren't you? At least at university, you're kind of specialized on one thing, and it's what you love. Hopefully, it's what your passion is, and you're interested in it. It makes a massive difference, I suppose.
Yeah, you might get fed up of it at some points, but actually, it is okay. Yeah.
So, I mean, for me, it was the lab work in uni that I really enjoyed. Do you get a lot of time in the lab?
Different unis again do it differently. We didn't have loads. We had quite a bit in first year making products, and then each module would normally have some sort of workshop or lab-based exercise. But we didn't have, every week you'd be in the labs X amount of hours. We'd have, a week of labs.
Yeah.
Maybe once every module. And some of those modules would go really fast and they would be changed every 3 weeks. But yeah, we didn't have allocated lab-based time.
Okay.
A lot of workshops, because a lot of the pharmacology we did was like modeling drugs 3D on computers and things. And making research proposal grants and that. It was that sort of practical labs was more of, and then final year we did a lot of practical pretending to run a pharmacy, but we didn't do any labs in final year.
So they kind of mocked up a pharmacy and you were kind of like basically on the pretend job.
Yeah, so we did 9 to 5s 1 week in every 4, and people came in and we had problems to solve, and it was actually good fun. And you got scored, so you're competing against each other.
I like that. That's great. It's kind of like grown up playing shop almost.
Yeah, it was exactly that. Yeah.
Well, that's ace. I mean, the thing is, they've got to prepare you for the real world as well, right? It's all well and good in theory, but it's like what you were saying right at the top of this. It's a massively sociable job. You're speaking to patients day in, day out, and obviously, communicating with other members of staff in the hospital and stuff as well.
Yeah, I feel as if pharmacy did get me ready for the job, and that's one good thing why I chose it. Like, I did come out feeling like I could do my first year of training.
Yeah, that's it. You got to have the confidence. I know you anyway. You're always a kind of confident young guy. But I think you got to have the confidence in yourself as well, and your knowledge, haven't you, as a pharmacist?
Yeah, I'm getting there.
Lives at the end of the day, it's no much of a lesser thing than the nurses and the doctors who are hands on.
Yeah, everyone's got their own roles, and they're all really different. But I think when everyone respects everyone, like in that workplace, it goes really well. Yeah, and you make a difference. So
that's it. And I think I know I got numerous family members who work in the NHS and in healthcare and stuff, and just the camaraderie there, as has been laid bare for all to see. It's just out of this world, really, isn't it? So
yeah, it's great.
Yeah, you can certainly do worse, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Questions. Let me just have another look quick back on Instagram. I think that's probably it for uni questions that I've seen. Do universities still offer the PhD in perf studies as part of their medicine program? I think that's more of a medicine question, is it?
Don't know. We can do so offer the PhD. Not sure. The PhD, we can do PhDs after, and I've got 3 friends that are doing that next year. But what most of them have done is do their 4 years, then do their training year, get a little bit of money and get the actual registration.
Yeah.
And then go back to PhD. So they always know they can come back to practice then.
Yeah, that makes sense, right? If you went straight into PhD, you've not actually been out in the real world at that point, had you?
No. Yeah. So the PhD is, you are set up pretty well for a PhD because you do master's research project and you do quite a bit of research as part of your degree. But yeah, it's not super common to do a PhD. There was maybe 250 of us in my cohort, and
wow, 250, that's a lot.
Yeah, half of them were Malaysian students. So they did 2 years over there, then did 2 years here. But I think maybe 5 to 10 people have done PhDs after.
Okay, so it depends what route you want to take, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and some people might do it further on down the line. There is that option. But again, you could just do a PharmD as well, which people do now alongside work and evidence their work. So that's another way to get a doctorate that way. In terms of pharmacy, in terms of other degrees, I'm not too sure.
Yeah, it's probably worked about the same. If you've got a passion, I think, because obviously PhDs are really, really research based, and if you've got a passion for that kind of thing, then
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
But no, I think you're a bit more of a social animal. You wanted to get out in the wide world, right?
Yeah, I like the clinical aspect, and I like interacting with patients, like interacting with the healthcare professionals on the ward. Yeah, that's what I wanted, really. Yeah.
So I think we've been talking obviously what you're doing at the moment and what options are post university. So a lot of students are asking. I think one of the biggest ones, actually, strangely, I've not heard this, but students seem to be worried that are there are there clear job opportunities for when you've finished your pharmacy degree? So basically, are there jobs out there? I think that's what you're asking about.
There is a lot of talk at the moment of there being less jobs, but less jobs than there were before doesn't mean there's not enough jobs. Yeah. Like everyone, so we have to do the pre-registration year and do a year in training, and everyone, I don't know anyone that didn't get any sort of placement, as long as you're a little bit flexible as to where you go. Like if you wanted to do community, like in a Boots, or if you want to do hospital, you wanted to do industry, as long as you're willing to be a bit flexible, then maybe get to where you want to be eventually, there's no way that you wouldn't get a job. Some roles pay more than others, but actually there's plenty of jobs at the moment. They are saying there's less jobs, but there's also more jobs coming up. That like there's pharmacists in GP practices now, and that's a new role. People are doing more and more research. So I still think there's loads of jobs, plenty of jobs really. But if you don't want to do that job at the end, it's tough to motivate yourself through and then do an extra training year. If it's just the job you want, you could probably, like a research heavy degree would still offer you a really good job.
Well, that's it. I mean, I think it's a highly skilled job, and there's always going to be opportunity for you, and abroad as well. You know anybody that uni with that went abroad?
I know a few people planning to go as well. Obviously, a load of the Malaysian students, the British degree works over there as well without any need for conversion. Same with Australia. And you can use it anywhere in the world really, but you have to do like entrance exams, different countries.
Sure.
Or the US, you have to do an entrance exam to each state that you work at. But apart from that, like there's not really a limit other than speaking the language.
Yeah, that's true. That'll be a sticking point as well. It's like, I want to go and work in Italy, but I can't speak any Italian.
Yeah, it's a small problem.
Yeah. I mean, so related to that then, I mean, you've mentioned a few things, but just for clarity for the guys watching. So the main kind of areas that you would say people go to work in when you come out of pharmacy, I mean, I think pre-reg is obviously one thing everyone has to do, right? When you come out, if you're going into clinical.
You could just take the degree and just do research, and you'd always be an unregistered pharmacist, which is absolutely fine. You've still got the MPharm.
Yeah.
But most people then do the registration year, so you are a registered pharmacist then.
Yeah, so most people tend to do that then, like come out and get their registration. So there's somebody asking, is it competitive? Is it hard to find somewhere to do that?
More competitive than it used to be. Now there's it's a bit like a UCAS system now. So it doesn't matter about how well you did in your degree. You just go and do a station interview, which is a bit of an assessment, and then you go to like the drive-in theory test center and you do like a situational judgment test, and then they rank you, and you say, I'd like to be in this hospital at the top, and then just you can rank as many as you want, so you can do all the shops or hospitals there are in the country. You could just rank them all.
Oh, so it's basically like a draft. So like this is I do tests, and this is my top pick. And I suppose the better you do in the test, the more likely you are to get your top pick.
So there was I think 1,900 people applying the year I did last year.
Wow.
So there is quite a lot, but there's plenty of spaces for people. If people want a job, they will get it. Like I think I got into 350th or something, but I still got my third choice, and that was a big teaching hospital. So you don't have to be number one at all. So
that's it. As long as you're willing to be a little flexible, like you top 5 to 10 choices maybe, or something like that.
Absolutely, yeah. And I didn't get a first in uni or anything. I got average all the way through really, but that was absolutely fine. It didn't hinder me at all.
Yeah, high five to that, brother. So sorry, I kind of deviated you onto a different question then, but so after pre-reg then, so what sort of areas would you say the main areas are for people to go into?
You've got the main areas currently are community, like Boots, Lloyd's, Roland's, or an independent, hospital, or industry. But a lot of them now do split, so they do maybe 6 months in one and 6 months in another, so you can get an idea for multiple places.
Oh, that's good. And give you the opportunity to kind of figure out what your preferred kind of route is. Oh, great.
Yeah.
There we go. What's the starting salary from Aisha?
Okay.
So graduate, kind of like you've done your registration. What would you expect in the region?
So for the pre-reg, it varies massively. It depends what your workplace will pay. NHS is all standard, and it goes up every year with inflation, but it's about 24,500 at the moment.
Okay.
So it's actually really good. Yeah. If like some places, like communities, you get the minimum you can get is 18, I think, to about 21. But after you register, community earn a lot more. So community shoot from 18 to then they go straight up to, so Boots are paying everyone the same now, and they're paying 38 straight off. As where like I've just secured my next job and I will be getting 31. So it's like they were less, but now they're significantly more.
Right.
But I get some of my training paid for me now because I'm doing further training because I want to.
That's great. Where you got an employer that's willing to kind of foot the bill. You want to like add more strings to your bow, do a bit of extra training, increase your qualifications.
Yeah,
that's good. And I think that's something definitely to look at. I mean, further down the line, obviously, you guys watching are doing your A-levels right now, but when you get into the workplace, it's always something to consider if they're willing to kind of help you further your qualifications and therefore your salary, essentially, like and your experience.
I remember being at A-level though and just wanting to finish studying at some point soon. And like that's why I took a year out, and I was really worried about getting back into study and scared that I wouldn't be able to pick it up again. But now it's just a bit more like part of your job, and it's actually quite nice to just be still learning a little bit, and takes a bit of pressure off work, and it's quite nice to be a student still.
Yeah, that's it. I suppose when everyone's like, this is what you're doing, you have to do this. It's like, oh God. But, I think, when you kind of got that type of brain, you got that type of personality, you always want to kind of do a bit more. I mean, I was a bit different for me because obviously I went into teaching at 24, 23, 24. And I'm like, well, I'm in education anyway. The last thing I want to do is more qualifications myself. I don't want to be on the other side of the desk now. I'm this side of the desk. So, but no, it's a really important thing to kind of keep moving and keep developing yourself, really.
Yeah, I can see benefits to both. Like if it wasn't part of my job and I didn't really need it to progress, I probably would just not bother. But actually now I have to do it. Not have to do it, but now I want to do it.
Yeah.
Quite looking forward to it, yeah. So I should get, in 3 years, I should get like an advanced certificate, and then I will be able to prescribe as well in 3 years. So that's another opportunity for pharmacists to be able to prescribe as part of their job.
Yeah, that was something I was going to ask you about, actually, because I know that some do and some don't. So it's an extra qualification post degree, right?
Yeah, okay. You can they might add it on to the course for pharmacy, but that might also extend the course length. It might be optional.
Yeah, so it's a massive deal, right? Being able to prescribe, like,
it makes you a lot more valuable. Yeah, so, and it's quite a nice thing to be able to do because we're checking a lot of prescribing at the moment, but because we can't do it ourselves, it sometimes creates barriers, and
Well, yeah, I mean, and that red tape's there for a very important reason, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you're in a hospital, right?
Yeah.
Right. I think I'm pretty sure we've covered it. There was a couple of questions relating to medicine in there and pharmacology. I think, we're here for pharmacy today. We are going to do a pharmacology one. We've got some guys that we've lined up to come and talk on medicine as well. So all you budding medics out there, we will be doing a bespoke live session with a panel of medics, hopefully, in the coming weeks. So keep your eye out for that, guys. So I'm not ignoring your questions, but I just trying to keep it relevant. Cool. So I think we'll wrap it up, guys. That's a good old stint, 40 minutes we've been doing this, which is great. So have you got any words of wisdom, any pearls of wisdom for budding pharmacy applicants then going to university, mate? What would you say to your 18-year-old self applying to pharmacy now?
Oh, don't worry too much about the workload. Enjoy it, really. Like, it was tough, and I did feel sometimes it was tougher than I was having it tougher than some of my mates were having it. But actually, I wouldn't change it for anything now, and it does offer you like a really good job at the end. Yeah, if you want to do it, absolutely do it. Yeah, I do really enjoy my job, and I know a lot of people who really enjoy their job as a pharmacist. So, not loads of people can say that.
Wise words, mate. Wise words. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, buddy. I really, really appreciate it. These guys really, really appreciate
You're welcome,
it.
yeah.
We've got a couple of thank yous in there, which is awesome. And good luck with everything in the future, mate, and your further studies and everything. And we'll keep in touch. We'll keep in touch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so don't go anywhere. I'm just going to stop the live stream. And
perfect.
Yeah, thank you very much for coming, ladies and gentlemen, on YouTube.
Cheers.
And I'll see you very, very soon.